is that if you're interested in this topic, check out the book The Natural Testosterone Plan by Stephen Herod Buhner, and it covers herbal phytoandrogens, many of the phytoestrogens I just talked about, and the xenoestrogens and the effect of this on male andropause and male health over the entire lifetime. So some of the phytoandrogenic foods, which is testosterone building, also any food that prevents the release of testosterone, like the body getting rid of it, as well as that prevents the testosterone being converted into estrogen. So preventing testosterone from either leaving the body or being converted to estrogen, it becomes what's known as free testosterone, and this is the testosterone that we need a certain amount of so that it's not being tied up in the body in ways that it's not being able to be used. So certain foods that you can add into your diet, or you might already have them into your diet and just feel good about eating them, are cucumbers, celery, garlic, pine nuts. Interestingly, anything that, most of the foods from the pine trees, the various species of them, are very androgenic. Then you also have kale, oats. Oats are very testosterone building. Bodybuilders use them all the time. You can make a raw spreaded oat milk by making spreaded oat groats, blending them with water, straining them through a nut milk bag. In my opinion, it's the most faux milk, whether it's a seed milk or a grain milk, that tastes the most like regular milk. And you can also make a raw oat groat porridge by putting warm water, like warming spring water up on the stove and putting the oat groats in the thermos overnight, and then the next morning you have sort of like an oat groat porridge. You can also just soak them in. It doesn't have to be warm water necessarily either. And then there's also corn, interestingly, is androgenic, a phytoandrogen, and it's ideally you're going to want non-GMO organic corn, and it's still pretty hybridized, so really the best thing is to go for wild corn or heirloom varieties of corn. And even the corn silk, which is often used to make teas, it's like an herb. It's that like stringy stuff around the corn cob when it's in the ear of the corn. You can make a tea with that. It's very healing to the bladder and the kidneys, but it's also a phytoandrogen. And then also the radish is a phytoandrogenic food. And then there's colostrum, of course. We all know that's a phytoandrogen. And red meat. And I'm just mentioning that to anyone out there who is consuming red meat and making that choice. Yeah, it's a pretty good food in terms of boosting testosterone in the body. Now, herbs you could use as phytoandrogens, and again, you're going to go really heavy on these as well as diminish all your phytoestrogens. I'd work with a practitioner personally just because it's good to monitor these things in your body so you're not throwing yourself out of balance. Hormones can have more profound changes than you might think. So number one is definitely pine pollen. And like I talked about pine nuts in the foods, pine pollen is perhaps the richest source of testosterone in nature. And it actually also contains components in it that prevent the transfer of testosterone, or the conversion of testosterone into other hormones, and keeping that testosterone as free testosterone. So although you could have plenty of things creating testosterone in your body, if you have too much of it getting converted or being released and thrown out of the body by whatever means, this is one way to counteract that. And it also is very much in line with the same in bee pollen. So basically the pollen from any plant is the seminal portion of the plant. It's the masculine male essence of the plant. And so this is a way of getting the male hormones into your body from a plant that mimic testosterone and are very beneficial in that regards. Because we don't get many of these types of foods in our diet. They're a lot more rare than the phytoestrogens because they're not as calorically dense, so we tend to eat more of the beans and seeds, etc. Pine pollen is also able to raise SOD levels in the blood, which is superoxide dismutase, which is something that tends to lower over time in most people, and that's a fantastic enzyme antioxidant that counteracts the worst free radical that can come into our body, which is actually targets our DNA, which is superoxide. So superoxide dismutase is the enzyme that blocks that. It's sort of like the King Kong of antioxidants in the body. So some other herbs are nettle root, tribulus, Eleuthero, which is Siberian ginseng, of course Chinese and Korean ginseng. Mucuna pruriens is known as a androgenic food and herb, and I talk about it in an article in the right-hand info box there. And you can also find a great source for a well-priced Mucuna seed powder there if you want. And I also have a link to that same place to get that powder in my article, so you can visit any of those to get through to a place to get bulk powder by the pound. And you can add that to smoothies. It increases human growth hormone in the body, which is very anabolic, as well as free testosterone. And it has a number of other beneficial qualities to it that I'm sure you'll enjoy reading about. Another herb that is androgenic is Tianchi ginseng, which is also often known as poor man's ginseng. It's not actually a Panax plant in the ginseng family, but it's got similar properties on the body, and yes, it's androgenic as well. And then there's of course Maca and deer antler. Those are both highly androgenic. So whether you're any type of person, male or female, athlete or just being sexually active, or you're aging and going through a period in your life where you need a boost from plant-sourced hormones, or you're just anyone feeling like you need to bring about those characteristics in yourself, and you just know that these excess phytoestrogens and xenoestrogens that are harmful to the body, and these herbs and foods that build these testosterone type compounds in the body are very beneficial. And for anyone looking for a way to eliminate xenoestrogens from the body, the top few things I'd say to take to eliminate these toxic compounds from the body are chlorella. It's known to detoxify all sorts of things. Any high chlorophyll food is going to be beneficial for that. Specifically, Adja clarity is fantastic for removing plastic compounds from the body. This is a water purification black mica solution, but you can also take that internally to precipitate out of the solutions in your body so that your body can eliminate them. And then of course there's zeolites. I personally prefer the powdered zeolites because you get more in a capsule than you might get in an entire bottle. Well, no, several capsules are in a bottle, but you can only hold so much zeolite in liquid form in a bottle compared to what you can get in capsules, and it's pure zeolites in these capsules. So, you know, $35 of 90 zeolite capsules is many, many times more zeolites than you get in a little liquid bottle. So I wish you good luck on your path of increasing your libido, increasing your hormonal health, increasing your overall athletic ability, and increasing your vitality for life and potential longevity as a human being.